So let's get right into it. The question is, do attorneys lie? And I'm going to ask you another question. Do people lie? Absolutely they do. So attorneys aren't like beings who were like zapped here or who beamed in from outer space. They're people just like you and I. And they have flaws just like you and I do. And they lie, you and I do, right? There's no one under the sun who's perfect. And so I've had personal experiences having to do with attorneys on a litigation level, and it really taught me a lot in dealing with attorneys, right? And you and I could be the most ethical people, the most ethical person. That doesn't mean everyone else is going to play fair like that, right? Some people just lie all the time by nature. Some people lie first before they tell the truth. Some people sit around and think, how can they get advantage of someone else, even if they have to lie, right? You ever heard that saying, get rich or die trying, or I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to get paid? Those people that say that, they really mean that, and they will do whatever they have to do to get paid. As an example, and this is not to make anyone else out there look bad or anything like that, I had a business partner that I worked with, and him and I built the business from the ground up, and we were doing extremely well, became best friends, best man in my wedding, that whole thing. Because just human nature, we look out for self first. The law of self-preservation is extremely real. We will do whatever we have to do in order to get ahead. That could be damaging a relationship. That could be ruining a relationship. It could even be sacrificing our client. And this is no different than major companies. You have major companies out here who make products that they know cause lung cancer. You have people who make products that they know cause liver cancer or liver issues. I mean, there's so many different ways to touch on that, but I think you get the point. We got to a situation where I couldn't communicate with my business partner anymore. You know, there were other people, divide and conquer specialists, who were coming in, who were also sowing seeds of discord, maybe propping one up, maybe manipulating the insecurities and the ego and things of that nature, maybe some envy, some jealousy, you know, actually fanning it, you know, fanning the fire to an extent. And so I got to a point where, and I didn't want to, I had to actually bring in a freaking litigation attorney. And I was trying to avoid that. I flew out there to the office, constantly was calling, emailing, texting, just no response. Because whenever you involve, here's the thing to understand, whenever you involve an attorney, there's really no going back on it. There's no turning back. Once you get to an attorney with whether it be your family or your friends, it's really gonna be hard to rebuild that relationship. So I got an attorney and began communicating with my business partner, and then he got an attorney, someone who I probably wouldn't have hired, just based upon ethics. Not that the attorney is bad or good, just based upon ethics, right? And him and I had that discussion previous to that. And we both kind of agreed not to go in that direction for that specific reason. But anyway, he hired this particular attorney, and this particular attorney showed me what you can and can't do in the legal system. And it really showed me that the attorneys are created for the purpose of the legal system, for the courts, not for you and I. And let me just give you an example also, because a lot of times we get emotional about it and we say, oh my God, you know, we always hear the thing that lawyers are liars. Yes and no, right? And it's a little bit unfair because you have to understand the system in which they were created, and then also think, why are they motivated? Are they people who really want to make a positive impact and really do good and justice in the world? Or are they in it for the purpose of making money? So here's the thing you gotta understand. This word debate. Very strong word, because let's say attorney A is over here, attorney B is over here. Attorney A says, you know what, all men are created equal. And so that's the reason I'm gonna become an attorney. This is the reason I'm becoming a lawyer, because I want to defend the people who come to me, because I know that all men are created equal and everybody deserves equal justice. Attorney B says, all men are not created equal. And therefore I will defend the people who don't agree that all men are created equal and who may harm the people who they see as, you know, 3/5 of a human or 1/5 or whatever you want to say, right? And so now this particular judge has to be the mediator, so to speak. And now you have to think about what their beliefs are, what their educational background is, what their philosophy is, what their spiritual system is, or what their religion is, more so today. And so attorney A has one belief, debating attorney B. Who's to say who's lying or who's not? Maybe attorney B has more facts. Maybe attorney A doesn't, or vice versa. And now it's up to the jury or the judge to take all of the information that's presented, whether they be lies or not, and say, you know what, I make this particular stance, you know, or this particular decree. As an example, you know, doing the whole freaking debacle where I had to sue my business partner and some of his friends. One of them countersued me and said that I basically tore ligaments in his leg. And so here's what happened. I went to my office. He had an office in my office that I wasn't even aware of. And so I said, hey man, let me talk to you. And he put his foot behind the door, right? Big guy, much bigger than I am. He put his foot behind the door so that I couldn't enter. Now I had camera crew with me. Thank goodness I had that, because people lie all the time, and unless you got it on video or something like that, you know, who knows? And I had an attorney with me as well. And so after I left, he countersued me and said that I basically tore the ligaments in his leg. Now, he doesn't know that I have tons of information to prove that I didn't do that by trying to push a door open. But here's the interesting thing. It was on video. And his attorney, up under oath, swear that whatever he was saying was true. My attorney knows it's not true because we were both there and we also had other information to prove that it didn't happen. But why would this attorney say that, right? Maybe the attorney just really believed that. Or in reality, maybe what happened is, hey, listen, this particular person who countersued me, he paid this attorney to defend him. And now the attorney has an obligation and a duty to protect that particular client, whether he believes everyone has equal rights or that they don't have equal rights, or in this particular case, that I tore his ligaments. Now he has a duty. Now, of course, there's the ethical side of it. Some attorneys won't even take a person who's unethical, period. Some attorneys won't even take a person who they know is absolutely lying. But some attorneys will say, hey, listen, you pay me, then I'll take care of the rest. And so we were gonna go back and forth, again, debating. I'm paying, he's paying. I'm paying again, he's paying again, back and forth, back and forth. Who's winning? And this is why you hear people say the only people who win are the attorneys, because the attorneys are the ones getting paid. It's just ching, 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 right? And so and I can go on and on about spending, $500,000 and even 7 figures going back and forth, because the attorneys, they don't mind debating. They have no issues with that because they're getting paid. They don't mind learning on the job, so to speak, on your dime at that. No issue with that whatsoever, because the law can be interpreted in so many different ways. Now, of course, eventually there could be some justice, because people say, you know what, let's just settle because we're spending too much money. Or maybe sometimes there is some actual justice, but a lot of times it's based upon who has the biggest bank account, who can continually afford to pay their attorney to fight for them. And so hopefully, this gives you a little bit of insight, because if you have to hire an attorney, you better be thinking 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7 times before you do that. Sometimes you have to. I got lucky and I found an ethical attorney who is not going to play the game of lying, who is not going to be unethical, who would rather, instead of bantering and debating back and forth on my dime, who would rather be solution oriented. And that's extremely important to have. You want to find an attorney who's solution oriented. You want to find an attorney who hopefully has ethics. This is what you want to do. You also want to, as much as you possibly can, communicate with the other side. Try to work it out instead of going this route, right? So, do attorneys lie? Yes. Do all attorneys lie? No. Do people lie? Yes. Do all people lie? No. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you like this. Subscribe, like it. Tell me if this absolutely helps you. This is Khaazra Maaranu. See you on the other side.